Best Public Affairs Program. And the star goes to Open for Business Net 25.
It is a signal to the world that we are open for business.
We are now open for business. This is Cesar Vallejos bringing you yet another episode to guide you in discovering your passion and growing your business as we learn from experts in the field. Sama-sama tayong matuto sa isa na namang makabuluhang usapan tungo sa pagpapaunlad ng inyong negosyo. Ang Open for Business ay mapapanood nyo sa Facebook, sa YouTube. Siguraduhin ding mag-like at mag-subscribe sa aming social media page at Net25 TV. Alamin natin, suriin mula sa mga negosyante, thought leaders at mga personalidad sa iba't ibang larangan ang mga strategies, trends at mahalagang karanasan sa pagninegosyo dahil tayo ay open for business. Kung ikaw ay isang estudyante o magulang na may anak na nais makakuha ng edukasyon sa ibang bansa, this episode is for you. In our latest edition, we will explore the possibilities of studying abroad, how to get to prestigious universities, and discuss the advantages of pursuing higher education overseas. To give us the course on studying abroad and running a visa services company, Mr. Ryan Santa Maria-Everist, founder and CEO of ISLAS Filipinas Education Services, join us as his company from Melbourne to different parts of the Philippines is now open for business.
Hello?
Bigyan mo ako ng 10 million.
Wala akong ibibigay sa'yo. Narinig mo ko? Wala akong ibibigay na pera. Pero boss, anak niyo siya. Alam ko. Anak ko siya.
Dahil sa pagkakamali,
Uuwi muna ako at magpapalit ng damit.
Ano ka ba, Mariela?
lalabas ang katotohanan.
Aalis na ako, boss. Hindi ka aalis dito.
May kinalaman ka ba sa pag-atake kay Fernando?
Maiintindihan mo lang kung anong pakiramdam ko kapag ikaw ang narito.
Daddy, patawarin niyo ako.
Ayaw na kita makita. Bitawan mo ako.
Mariela!
Wala na nga bang mapagkakatiwalaan?
Masaya ako na nagkita tayo ulit, kapatid ko. Nagkakamali ka. Hindi ako ang kapatid mo.
Two Sisters. Ang huling 2 linggo. Gabi-gabi, 9 p.m. on Net25.
Panalo tayo pag together, walang talo pag together. Let's get together sa Net25.
Ligtas siya, ang mama mo. Dalhin mo ang kasulatan at makukuha mo siya.
Ang isang pagkakamali, magdudulot ng trahedya.
Mama, hindi maaari!
Maaaring hindi na siya gumising pa.
Kaya pa bang maghilom ang pusong punong-puno ng sugat?
Ano ang plano mong gawin?
Gusto mo bang damit na yan? Mission na yun. Seyon, ikaw pala. Tama. Hana Kim, magsaya ka na ngayon dahil ito na siguro ang pinakamasayang araw sa iyong nalalabing panahon sa mundo.
Mysterious Personal Shopper. Monday to Friday, dito sa Net25.
Panalo tayo pag together, walang talo pag together. Let's get together sa Net25.
This program...
Studying abroad seems a daunting thought, but for students who are determined to carve a path to success, there are many ways to make this dream a reality. Currently, there are education and visa services companies in the country ready to assist students, migrants, or workers. One of them is the growing network of offices of Las ISLAS Filipinas Education Services, a company born in Melbourne, Australia, fueled by its founder's vision of helping Filipinos have a better life through education. Please welcome Mr. Ryan Santa Maria-Everist, CEO of Las Islas Filipinas, to tell us about his journey into entrepreneurship through his passion for good education and how aspiring students can go to Australia for tertiary and further studies. How are you, Ryan?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm well. Thank you so much. Yourself?
I'm fine. Thank you. Ayun, mapapa-Australian accent tayo ngayon. But a lot of our viewers, they think that studying abroad is very expensive. We know that there are a lot of personalities, marami mga taga-show business, di ba? At marami din sa business community na nakikita natin na yun lang mga may kaya ang nakakapagpadala ng anak o nag-aaral abroad. Is this true? Or yung karaniwan bang mga mamamayan, karaniwang Pilipino, meron din bang pagkakataon sila para mag-aral abroad?
Yes po, sir. Kasi paiba naman po kasi yung fees at mga babayarin. Depende naman yun sa college na pag-enrollan mo. Meron naman tayong affordable colleges na pwede natin i-offer dun sa mga tipo, sabihin na lang po natin, marginalized na
Yes.
At meron din naman yung tinatawag nila dito sa Philippines, kasi wala nun sa amin sa Australia. Dito sa Philippines, may tinatawag silang fly now, pay later. Most of the consultancies are doing it here now, but we at Las Islas Filipinas, as much as possible, we don't want to do the same thing as what they are doing. Kasi we are based in Melbourne, and then we are not allowed to do it.
I see. In short, what's you're saying, Ryan, is that it's possible to really study abroad kasi sinasabi mo, depende din sa school na pupuntahan mo. Similar to studying here in the Philippines, there are, schools that offer higher tuition fees, and then there are affordable schools. So you have an option as well.
That's correct, sir. And on top of that, during the consultation process, bibigyan po namin ng options yung student. Let's say, ang kailangan lang talaga ng student is to be very honest if he or she can afford to pay, or if he or she has relatives abroad, let's say in Australia. Kasi if not, we're not going to give him or her yung mga mamahalin na colleges. Let's say, sabi niya, oh sir, this is the only amount that I can afford to pay.
This is your annual budget.
Yes.
Ganyan.
And then, of course, we'll work on that. Kasi that's how it works. Opo.
Pero your company is focused on students lang who want to study in Australia for now, because maybe eventually you want to branch out to other countries.
We do offer Canada and UK as well, sir. But we're more focused with Australia since Las Islas Filipinas is based in Melbourne.
Okay.
And our main office is in Melbourne, but we do have offices now in Adelaide, Perth, Brisbane, and Northern Territory, and of course in Sydney. But with our UK and Canada, it is partnered with bigger agency which is based in UK and Canada. But like what I have said, we're more focused with people who wanted to study in Australia. But as far as I know, people who are in Canada now are wanting to come to Australia because of the benefits that they're receiving. Kasi
Which is related to my question, Ryan. Why Australia? There are a lot of countries in the world like France or maybe US, Japan. Yan. Pero why are you encouraging Filipinos or students to study in Australia?
Why Australia, when you say Australia kasi, Australia offer the best quality education in terms of the quality, kasi they will give you quality education where pag bumalik ka ng Philippines, you're like two step ahead of everyone. Let's say, when you come back to the Philippines, they will offer you a managerial position. And not just Filipinos actually, people from Latin America are coming to Australia to study, Chinese, Japanese, actually all over the world world talaga, they come to Australia because they know how good the education in Australia. And on top of that, the Australian government really helps students to become the person that they wanted to be. That being said, Australian government supports students in terms of their mental health. There are free services such as Beyond Blue. You can call them 24/7. Other countries, they don't have that.
So pag sinabi mong they help in mental health, like for example, if you're a student and syempre yung support system mo, you don't have relatives there, malulungkot ka. So is that part of, the benefits wherein you have a support system? Even not only in Australia, di ba? Like say if you are an OFW, halimbawa, you go to the different countries, you're stationed there without relatives. The pangs of loneliness will really affect you. So why are they giving mental health as a benefit for students?
Because, Sir Cesar, based on the study, correct me if I'm wrong, the highest number of suicide are coming from the students. And then it is because they're struggling with their studies, they're missing their families, they're alone. That's why I think the Australian government, hindi lang naman nila bago lang yun eh. It's there na ever since. It's just that students are nahihiya na lumapit or tumawag. So what they're doing now is they're promoting mental health on TV, in the internet, all over na para so that people, they normalize it. Unlike in...
na parang hindi ka na mahihiya or parang walang stigma.
Yes po.
I see.
24/7, it's available to call. It's for free. That's the good thing about it. And on top of that, let's say, with ISLAS Filipinas, I would say, before you leave the Philippines, hindi po namin kayo papaalasin until makapag-attend kayo ng tinatawag naming pre-departure seminar. With that pre-departure seminar, we will give you those do's and don'ts na kung anong dapat mong gawin, how to open a bank account, where to go in terms of library, things like this, accommodation and other things. And then on top of that, pagdating mo naman po sa Australia, a week na pagdating mo ng Australia, may tinatawag po kaming kalakbay, welcome to Australia. Ito naman po yung seminar ulit na parang i-introduce si student kay Study Melbourne, participated by the local government in Australia, and then NGOs in Australia. So I think that ISLAS Filipinas, as a student, because I am a student as well, so I found out na dapat we have this bago makaalis. Kasi or else, walang mangyayari.
So you are really preparing them, to that actual environment, to the live environment.
Yes.
So it's like you preparing them before they leave, and as soon as they land in Australia, there's another training for them. Pero ang tanong ko ito, so I'm sure it's part of the training, but siyempre pinag-aaralan din yung kultura. Even if the language is in English, but the accent is different, diba? We know some of the Australian actors, diba, who can speak English, but sometimes the accent is somehow you will notice that it's a different twang. And another thing, yung kultura nila, diba? Maliban sa language, yung accent, yung kultura nila iba din. Ang pagkakaalam ko sa Australian culture, correct me if I'm wrong, they're also very direct, di ba?
Yes po.
Kumbaga parang hindi tulad natin mga Pilipino, medyo nag-iisip pa tayo kung paano mapapalambot yung yung paparaan ng pagsasabi. Pero sila, I don't know if like the American culture, it's a bit rough or a bit raw. So di ba? So yun ba pinag-aaralan din, itinuturo ninyo din na parang naintindihan nila yung kultura ng mga Australiano?
Yes po, Sir Cesar. Kasama po yun dun sa tinatawag namin post-arrival, yung nga pong kalakbay, yun yung post-arrival seminar para hindi sila mabigla na parang kapag kausap nila yung isang locals, parang sabihin na lang sa kanila na, wag mong gawin yan. Para kasi lahat dun walang parang dito sa atin we have to think before we talk. Doon, diretso. Kaya sinasabi sa kanila na Australians, they're very straightforward. They say what they wanna say. Which is, me, myself, I kinda appreciate it kasi malalaman ko kung galit ba to or hindi. At least alam mo na agad na kung may problema ba or wala.
So ngayon, how they describe Australians and how they describe the Australian culture? Kunyari, ano ba yung dapat may... Sabi mo nga, one is being straightforward. What else? Para medyo naihanda rin yung mga estudyante. I'm sure you've lived there, you worked in Australia, but How different is it? And what is common naman between us?
Culture-wise, very welcoming naman si Australian, and it's very easy to adapt as long as na hindi ka maarte. Very easy to adapt, especially with Filipinos. Kahit saan naman tayo itapon, madali tayo mag-adapt. Tapos, yung pinagkaiba sa Philippines and Australia, I think economic-wise is different. Job opportunities, different. Education, different. Health
benefits.
Health benefits, it's different. Super dami. Kaya I think most of the Filipinos wanting to come to Australia because of all of these things. Kasi in the Philippines, when you apply for a job, you need to be college graduate.
Yes.
You need to have this certificate, that certificate, this certificate. There's the NC2, I don't know. But in Australia, you go there, I'll pass you my resume, interview me, right there and there, they'll hire you.
Wow, as long as there is a job vacancy, I suppose. you know.
Yes.
Pero what you're telling me is that there are more job opportunities there, di ba?
Yes po, especially right now, after the pandemic, when everyone left Australia, Australian government are giving a lot of jobs to everyone, especially the people from trade industry. Trade industry, these are the people who works for as a chef, nurses, IT, construction workers, doctors, and many more. And now, with that being said, kaya sila gusto nila maraming, not just students, skilled workers to come to fill that gap. So actually, now, they just before, for people who are wanting to work as aging and support, like aged worker, yung mga, yung nag-help sa mga matatanda.
Healthcare.
Yes. Ang ginawa nila ngayon is binigyan nila ng permanent residency pathway yung mga people na nag-work on that industry dahil lang kasi kulang nga sila sa manpower si Australia.
Wow, interesting. I have to read this. According to the website of Australian Trade, there are over 19,000 enrollments year to date in Australia amongst Filipino students. It's quite easy to digest that the land down under is a popular choice for students to go to in pursuit of tertiary and further education. In your observation, what is a common driver for Filipino students in choosing to study in Australia? Nasagot mo na rin yan, pero gusto kong malaman, kasi ang interesting naman dito, ikaw naranasan mo. So dapat, nagstay ka na doon. But here you are, establishing the Las Islas Filipinas Education Services, giving your experience, providing the Filipinos and our countrymen an opportunity for them to also experience the life that you had there. Why so? Bakit hindi mo pinili na ito na lang ako, kayaman na lang ako sa Australia? So why are you doing this? Why are you sharing this opportunity to other Filipinos?
Naku, napakadamot ko naman, sir, kung sasuluhin ko na lang, no? Pero I always at the back of my head, sabi nga nila, we always move forward, but when we turn our backs, we have to reminisce and give thanks to the people who help us. So I believe yung mga Filipinos deserve din naman nila na magkaroon ng maginhawang buhay. Pero like what I have said, it's an investment for yourself and your family. We graduated with this course and that course, but there are so many smart people who are graduating as well. So everyone needs to update their skills, their knowledge para to adapt. So sa isip ko, sabi ko, sige, dapat lahat, kung yung na-experience ko, hindi man lahat, at least a portion, let's say even 1% nung marginalized people, matulungan ko.
Wow, that's very inspiring, Ryan. And this one, this is also interesting. Can you provide an overview of the educational programs and courses available to Filipino students in Australia?
Yes, thank you po. For nurses, of course, they can work as nurse in Australia on demand. Now, commercial cookery, chef, aging and support, IT graduates, teachers, and building and construction, and then digital media.
So, pwede silang, katulad ng sinabi mo, maraming options kung paano mapataas mo ang skill set mo doon.
Yes,
at saan ka mag-aaral. So, depende doon sa budget mo. Pero yung iba talaga, walang pera. So, yung iba, magagaling. We've read a lot of news, both real news and fake news about students, di ba, getting a lot of grants, scholarships from very prestigious schools in the US. Dito, talagang full scholarship. So, what types of scholarships or financial aid options are available for Filipino students who wish to study in Australia? Meron bang ganon?
Well, in Australia po, Sir Cesar, they don't normally offer scholarship for people who are not citizen or permanent residency. But if you enroll to universities, let's say if you want to study your bachelor's degree, PhD, or any courses, they offer you a 30% scholarship. Malaking bagay na po yung 30%. That's malaking tanggal na yun sa ano mo. But full scholarship, you have to apply through Australian awards. They give you an examination and then you have to apply. Normally, yung mga taga-UP Diliman, sila yung palaging nakakakuha ng grants.
Wow, so talagang pagalingan din yan kasi
Yes
may
po.
exam eh. Magaling ang Pilipino, kaya
Tama
kaya
po.
niya yan. Okay, how can your agency assist Filipino students in the visa application process for studying in Australia? Kasi minsan ganun, mahirap. So okay na, nakapasa ka na lahat. Kompleto na, ang galing mo, taas ng grades mo, everything. Pagdating ng visa, disapproved. What are your initiatives to ensure that the visa process and approvals are secured?
With ISLAS Filipinas, I am very proud to say that we thoroughly check the documents of our clients or students so that we send them a checklist. And then by sending the checklist, as much as possible, we want everything that is written sa checklist, masubmit nila. And then, kasi ngayon, the reason like countries like Nepal and India, yung assessment level nila went down to level 3. Philippines, thanks God, we still on assessment level 2.
Ano ang pagkakaiba ng 1, 2, 3 na yon when you say level 1, 2, 3?
Kasi Sir Cesar, when you're assessment level 1 and 2, these are the countries that are getting visa approved
Immediately or
yes. And
no
then
hitches.
on top of that, Australian immigration is not asking for our finance documents. And then
Pag level 2,
level 1 and 2.
level 1 and 2. So parang wala ka nang, show me your bank account, walang ganon. Pag level 2.
Yung hindi na sila manghihingi in a way na ito thoroughly check pa nila. Pero parang i-scan na lang nila para tignan lang kung you can afford to pay.
Yes, parang yung sources of income mo,
Yes.
ganyan, or who supports you.
Yes. Pag
Okay.
assessment level 3 naman, we have to provide finance documents and then English assessment. Ito po yung IELTS, PTE na examination.
So sa atin, wala na yon.
Wala na. We're very lucky. We're very lucky. Kasi, thank you so much. Nagpapasalamat tayo. Kasi lahat ng so far, lahat ng consultancy, not just mine, we thoroughly check the documents na parang walang bogus document. Kasi yun yung isa sa mga reason na bumababa yung assessment level. Ang mga Filipinos po talaga, very honest all over talaga.
Wow, that's great to know. And yes, we believe that as well. And that's part of the core values also of Net25 as a broadcast station. But ito pa. So halimbawa, parang sinabi mo, I think you mentioned this, some of the services. What support services do you offer to Filipino students once they arrive in Australia? You mentioned din kanina, di ba, na once they're there, parang you have an actual briefing pa or another training. So can you give me a walkthrough of, of what happens once they arrive?
Once they arrive, a week na dumating po sila sa Australia, ang ginagawa po namin, Sir Cesar, is we invite them to come for what we call Kalakbay Welcome to Australia Seminar. That Kalakbay Welcome to Australia Seminar is being participated by the Philippine Consulate, the Australian government, yung local government. Let's say kung nasa Melbourne sila, tapos NGOs such as Beyond Blue, like what I have said, and then NGO naman na makakatulong sa kanila in terms na let's say nagkaroon sila ng financial struggle, tapos etong NGO na to, yung 5Bs Humanitarian Incorporated, they help naman student na nag-struggling financially, parang hindi naman bibigyan ng pera but some groceries para matawid lang nila yung a week na wala sila.
Relief.
Yes.
It's good because I think the key stakeholders of the community are there. You have government there, you have NGOs or financiers or people will help. So is that something that's unique to Las Islas Filipinas or Is that also something that anyone can get if they go to other service agencies?
They can actually get the same thing with other service agencies. It's just that like hindi nila ino-offer talaga yung tipong gano'n. But with ISLAS Philippines, like what I have said, Sir Cesar, I'm a student as well. So I know yung first week to 2 weeks na struggle ng students. So kaya ang ginagawa ko, kami na yung nag-i-initiate na gawin natin to para yung 2 weeks na yon, they know, they will feel comfortable. And with ISLAS Filipinas, we don't treat our student as clients. We treat them as families.
Perfect. Tsaka parang ang ginawa mo, parang it's already part of the core system or core program.
Yes,
diba? It's not an optional part of the curriculum or the program. Are there any specific programs or initiatives in place to help Filipino students adapt to the Australian education system and culture? Siyempre, part na rin ng training nyo yun,
Yes,
diba?
po.
But from time to time, because I observe this with other students I met in different countries, talagang there are times that they go together with in museums. You know, there are times that outside the traditional educational system, there are activities that's fit for foreign students. Is that also part of the process?
Yes po. Each state has study Melbourne, study Adelaide, study Brisbane. They are the one who help students in terms of adapting with the culture or wanting to get to know the city better. So all they have to do is just to approach ISLAS Filipinas. Kahit hindi nyo po kami yung nag-process ng visa nyo, just approach us and we'll help you. We'll guide you. We'll introduce you to wherever you are. Nasa Adelaide man kayo, nasa Perth man kayo, or nasa Brisbane man kayo, or Northern Territory, Sydney. Wherever you are in Australia, just approach us. We will help you.
Wow, perfect. That's inspiring. Could you provide information on the cost of living in Australia for Filipino students, including accommodation, transportation, and daily expenses? Siyempre, alam naman natin dito, ang cost of living sa Pilipinas ay pwedeng mura lang, pero because of the rising cost of prices, talagang medyo mahal na rin, hindi na rin kaya. So sabihin natin, is there some sort of a ballpark figure lang na parang yung cost of living mo, 'di ba? Alam natin, 'di ba? There are reports coming from different sources of the cost of living, 'di ba? In key cities, 'di ba? Kasi lalo na yung mga binabanggit mong city talagang Melbourne, Brisbane, 'di ba? These are Perth, these are key cities. When you go to Tokyo, to Paris, to London, the cost of living there is very high. So, how can you describe the cost of living there?
With the cost of living po, Sir Cesar, it's totally different if the way you live. Kasi when I was studying, parang $50 sa akin or $25 okay na sa akin a day. Minsan napapaab.
So $25 to $50
a day.
Australian dollars
Yes,
yun.
po.
Magkano ba yung exchange rate? Sorry, magkano?
36.
36. So mas mataas yung US. So 36. So pag may $50 ka, buhay ka na.
Sobra-sobra na.
Sobra-sobra na.
Oo. Tapos kasi, Sir Cesar, pag pumunta ka sa groceries, if you live the life na parang...
Daily yun, 25 to 50.
Actually, masyado na malaki yung $10, okay na. Kasi punta ka sa Coles, yung supermarket namin doon, bili ka lang doon ng, let's say, like me, bread, tapos salad, okay na. Tapos I can eat that na the next day na rin. Depende lang talaga yon sa the way, yung paano yung, tawag doon, yung
lifestyle mo.
Lifestyle, yes. That's yung lifestyle mo. Pag you're very fancy, siyempre, hindi yun
So imagine, so parang lumalabas with 900 pesos or that's about 25 Australian dollars sa'yo, okay na. But again, the lifestyle of one person is not necessarily the same with another. So as you mentioned, it depends on your style of living, di ba? If you want a fancy life, di ba, you go to big restaurants, di ba? Hindi ka pwede yung mga turo-turo lang. Dito sa Pilipinas, punta ka lang sa tindahan ni Aling Pasing, buhay ka na pag estudyante ka. Minsan pag-iisahin, natatandaan ko yung mga kasabayan ko, minsan lang ang isang beses, dalawang beses lang kumain, wala nang merienda yon, di ba?
Ako, sir.
So, mabubuhay na yon. In your case, anong...
yung like what I have said, bibili lang ako sa supermarket, then I cook for myself, tapos adobo, Yung adobo, i-meal prep ko siya for the whole week.
Wow.
I-meal prep ko siya for the whole week. Sasabihin ng mga, kasi in terms naman sa accommodation, i-discuss ko lang very light.
Okay.
In terms naman sa accommodation, there are different types of accommodation. If you're on a budget, merong mga sharing houses doon. In one room, parang dito, bed spacer.
Bed spacer or dorm. Di ba
Dorm.
minsan sa isang dorm, pwedeng sama-sama doon.
Pero doon kasi, parang a little bit fancier kasi sa isang room, dalawa lang kayo.
Siya.
Di ba?
Parang si Attorney Randy lang. Okay.
Sa isang room, dalawa lang kayo. Tapos you share na ganun doon. Hindi bawal kasi ang apatan or ano. It's against the law of parang real estate law nila. Bawal yung more than 2. Kaya ganun. Pag nagtitipid ka, sharing is a good idea. Then pag parang nakaipon-ipon ka na ng kaunti, and then you get naman your own 1 bedroom. Parang share pa din, pero sarili mo ng room.
Wow.
Pero pag tagal-tagal mo na, sige, let's say a year ka na sa Australia, syempre, medyo mayabang ka na noon. Sabi mo, ka-afford ko na. Kuha na ako ng 1-bedroom house. Kuha ka na ng 1-bedroom apartment. Meron namang murang mga houses, yung mga old houses, pinaparentahan kasi ng mga Australian kasi they move out of that house. Tapos ginagawa nilang rental. So yun, para makukuha mo yun around 250, sometimes lesser, Australian dollars. Pero kasi sa amin, per week.
Per week ang
Yes,
bayaran
ang
nun.
rent.
So kayo, ISLAS Filipinas can also help finding a place.
Colleges. Colleges, they do that. ISLAS Filipinas, as much as possible, we don't want to be involved with that part kasi masyadong maraming masasagasaan na other businesses. So we rather focus na lang sa education.
Kasi sabihin nila, parang kinuha mo na lahat. But you can refer.
Yes.
Di ba?
Yes.
You may not be directly going through that, the owner of the dorm or the flat, but you can assist them,
Yes,
correct?
po.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting. And siyempre, depende na rin doon sa lifestyle, character, or financial capacity ng student or family na mamili ng tirahan niya.
Yes po, opo.
Pero, kunyari yung sinabi mo, based on real estate law or provision, so yun, gaano naman kalaki yung space? Ang mga rooms ba doon? Parang parang malalaki ba na?
It's really different here in the Philippines.
Okay.
Kasi our condominiums here parang sardinas.
Ayan na tayo
Parang
sinasabi ko
parang sardinas. In Australia, kahit shared room kayo, pwede kang sumayaw. Kasi malaki talaga.
So malaking space.
Malaking space.
So para ka nang may sala doon, may so it's big. So like for example, mga about how many square meters?
No, I'm not good with that. Pero parang with this studio, parang half nito.
Studio type is 25. So mga ganito, malaki na nga.
Malaki, oo.
Wow, interesting. So there's a lot of things you make studying in Australia very exciting, Ryan. And
Kaya po, to all aspiring student, what I can advise before you jump into a decision, siguro advice ko na lang din po sa inyo are research first. The agency is really a legit agency. Does this agency has an office in Australia? Kasi if that agency doesn't have an office in Australia, when you arrive in Australia, you will get lost. Kasi wala po kayong malalapitan. So, kapag yung agency meron pong branch sa Australia, at least you have someone to go to kung magka-problema man po. And on top of that, next naman to research is the colleges. Kunyari, in-offeran po kayo ng education consultancy, this is our offer. So now naman, your task as a applicant, you have to make your own research. You research the college, if this college doesn't have bad reputation, if this colleges really gives offer cheaper. Kasi minsan nangyayari na naho-hold up sila. Pagdating nila sa Australia, gagano na lang sila. Ang mahal-mahal pala ng tuition fee ko. Ganun na lang. Do that. And then on top of after that, researching about the college, research naman tayo about how to adopt the culture, ano ba yung dapat gawin, paano ba si Australians magsalita, paano tayo mag-a-adapt. Then, after nyan, you assess everything financially naman. Diba? Am I financially capable of working and studying abroad? Kasi baka mamaya, you don't have relatives pala there, tapos suntok sa buwan lang na baka sa palaran na lang. Hindi po pwedeng ganun. Dapat, when we leave the Philippines, we have to be financially ready. Yes, I do understand na dapat nakikipagsapalaran tayo. Pero kung pag gagawin natin to, dapat po tayong lumapit sa trusted consultancy para we can help you. Pagdating nyo doon, we can find you a job straight away or kung ano man para hindi kayo mawala.
Wow, that's a very inspiring and very practical wrap-up of today's episode. And thank you, Ryan, and thank you, ISLAS Filipinas Education Services, for sharing your expertise, your knowledge, and your agency for not only for Filipino students, but the Filipino families. And thank you for sharing your experience as well in Australia. And we haven't discussed really your journey of entrepreneurship. That gives you another opportunity to guest in Open for Business. And hopefully we can also guest some of the students who enrolled in through your agency. So maraming salamat. At bago tayo matapos, please, a lot of our viewers would want to get in touch with you. The Facebook, the numbers, the YouTube channel are flashed on screen, but how will they get in touch with you, Ryan?
All they have to do po is just Google ISLAS Filipinas Education Services, and then lahat po ng information needed is nandun po. Click the button, inquiry button, lahat. Well, very timely naman po kami mag-reply.
Thank you, Ryan, and good day, mate. And thank you so much, Open for Business. We'll be back. Stay with us.
masasabi mong tunay na kaibigan.
Yep! At kapag siya'y natagpuan na, huwag mo nang pakawalan.
Ang tunay na kaibigan, laging nandyan kahit kailan.
Handang gawin ang lahat, maging happy ka lang.
Gagawin ang Afro-Fang! Para sa'yo, para sa pamilya, at para sa bayan.
Tulad na lang ng inyong mga bagong kaibigan.
Tuwing umaga,
love,
Tony Bet,
and everything!
Ngayong June 26,
6:30 ng umaga.
sa Net 25! Let's net together! Love Tony better together! Love Tony better than everybody! Tony better than everybody! Love Tony better than everybody!
Manalo tayo. Magandang araw, magandang araw. Magandang araw, magandang araw. Magandang araw, magandang araw. Any time of the day, it's super saya. Lalo na kung si Ara lagi mong kasama. Magandang araw, magandang araw.
Dito sa ASPN, siguradong sagot namin ang mga impormasyong kailangan ninyong malaman sa araw-araw.
Opisyal nang bukas sa mga motorista ang NLEX Connector.
Meron ba talagang alitan ang pamilyang Degamo laban po sa Teves?
Our families have gone a long way, no? Ang una talagang kasama or alay ni Governor Degamo is ako at yung lolo ko.
Nagtala ng maximum heat index.
Nagsara po kahapon, April 3. Nako, bagyang humina po ang piso. Kami na din ni Ali ang bahala sa pagsiyasat sa mga isyong kinakaharap ng bansa.
Kung makita nila na meron namang sufficient basis, ay pwede silang magpa-issue sa International Criminal Court ng warrant of arrest.
He was put into grave, binaon talaga siya, inilibing. Your question.
So 12 years, I have done my part, then so on, and I know you are proud of me. In spite of the odds.
Samahan nyo kami, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Dito lang yan sa Net 25!
Welcome back to Open for Business. Here are the trending business news around the world. Government downscales infrastructure projects to 8.2 trillion pesos. The national government has removed redundancies in some of the total infrastructure flagship projects or IFPs, which now has an updated investment value standing at 8.2 trillion pesos, according to the Department of Finance Chief Benjamin Diokno. As expected, this is lower than the 9 trillion peso IFPs announced in March this year. Diokno, who also co-chairs the Economic Development Group, together with the National Economic and Development Authority head, said that there are 68 ongoing projects, 25 for implementation, 9 for approval, 52 under project preparation, and 40 under pre-project preparation, for a total of 194 IFPs. Around 4.51 trillion pesos of the said projects will be funded via Official Development Assistance or ODAs, while 2.51 trillion pesos will be through public-private partnerships. Most of the projects, or 83%, equivalent to 6.77 trillion pesos, will be for the physical connectivity sector, covering 119 IFPs. Other projects include water resources, agriculture, health, digital connectivity, and power and energy. SEC warns on abusive debt collectors. The Securities on Exchange Commission, or SEC, issued warnings on penalties under Republic Act number 11765, or the Financial Products and Services Consumer Protection Act, or FCPA, specifically violation of Section 8D on abusive debt collection practices, which can be criminally prosecuted. The rules and regulations of FCPA prohibit financial service providers or lending companies or their collection partners the use of abusive collection or debt recovery practices in a bid to protect consumers. Violation of the said section of FCPA carries a penalty of a maximum 2 million peso fine or up to 5 years of imprisonment or both. Philippines seen to benefit from its RCEP inclusion. The Philippines is expected to reap the benefits of being part of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, specifically on foreign direct investments from Europe, said European Union ASEAN Business Council Executive Director Chris Humphrey. RCEP participating countries include the ASEAN members, Japan, Australia, China, New Zealand, and South Korea. Humphrey also noted the country's attractiveness, having one of the fastest GDP growth rates in the region, as well as economic reforms made to attract foreign investments. That's our news roundup. I am Randy Bernardino for Open for Business.
Paano maiiwasan ang paglaki ng sunog? Gumamit
Sa buhay, minsan lang dumating ang taong masasabi mong tunay na kaibigan.
Yep! At kapag siya'y natagpuan na, huwag mo nang pakawalan!
Ang tunay na kaibigan, laging nandyan kahit kailan.
Handang gawin ang lahat, maging happy ka lang!
Gagawin ang Afro-Fra! Para sa'yo, para sa pamilya, at para sa bayan.
Tulad na lang ng inyong mga bagong kaibigan.
Tuwing umaga,
Love!
Tony Bet
and everything!
Ngayong June 26,
6:30 ng umaga!
sa Net 25! Let's net together! Love Tony better together! Love Tony better than everybody! Love Tony better than everybody!
Pala si Papa. Magkaka-baby na sila, Tita Lani.
Kung sino yung nagloko, siya yung masaya.
Si Lydia, bago nating miyembro.
Paano ba manligaw ngayon, ha?
Kunin mo na yung cellphone number. Text mo na. Tapos, punta mo sa bahay. Dala mo ng flowers.
Flowers for you.
Uy, si Mami manliligaw.
Siyempre,
papagandahin natin si Mami Jack.
Konting bilis pa.
Push up, bra!
Manonood lang kami ng sine.
Ay? Lo, happy all for you, Mami Ja.
I love you, Lydia!
Mayang babi mo, sugarol. Baka pati ikaw ubusin ng lalaking yun.
Gusto mong ipamukha sa akin na hindi ako karapat-dapat na magkaroon ng kasama sa buhay. Devotion. Yun lang ang gusto ko. Someone who will be devoted to me and someone that I can devote what's left of my life.
Edward.
Sofia.
Si Bobby!
Bobby!
Sino po yung namimiss niyo?
Wala.
Mami Ja, may nag-message!
Ha? Meron?
Yakap mo lang ang magpapaalala kung paano ang puso lumayo sa tukso habang di na.
May mga bagay na dapat mong paghirapan bago mo makuha. See you, Monday, first screening.
Open for Business is at the helm. Protect national landmarks. Historical landmarks provide us Filipinos with a sense of pride and identity. It also enriches our cultural heritage that is necessary to connect the present and the future from the past. Ito ang dahilan kaya marami ang nalungkot at nadismaya nang masunog ang Manila Central Post Office, isa sa mga makasaysayang gusali sa ating bansa. Umabot sa general alarm ang insidente at tinatayang 300 million pesos ang naging pinsala. Natupok ang mga dokumento, sulat, parcel at ilang national IDs ng mga residente sa Maynila na dapat sana ay i-deliver na. Apektado ang operasyon ng PhilPost na kinakailangang maghanap ng pansamantalang opisina. But contrary to conspiracies and rumors online, there is a push to rebuild the Manila Central Post Office. How can this be done and how can we better protect the nation's historical landmarks? In 2018, the National Museum declared the Manila Central Post Office as an important cultural property. After the incident, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri and Senator Sonny Angara said lawmakers should work with the Department of Budget and Management to look for funds that can be used for the building's restoration. The National Commission for Culture and the Arts has also expressed its intention to help with the huge task. Mungkahi ni House Deputy Speaker Ralph Recto gamitin ang 13 billion peso contingent fund na kontrolado ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos o di kaya ang Calamity Fund na may 19.03 billion pesos pa sa pagsisimula ng taon. Pwede rin umanong magbigay ng donasyon ng malalaking kumpanya na ma-exempt sa buwis sa ilalim ng RA 10066 o National Cultural Heritage Act of 2009. Nanawagan naman ng imbestigasyon sa Senado ang ilang mga mambabatas sa layuning maiwasang maulit ang ganitong mga pangyayari na banta sa makasaysayang mga gusali sa bansa. Para kay Senator Robin Padilla, ang nangyaring sunog sa Manila Central Post Office ay dagok sa cultural heritage ng bansa. Historical landmarks should be able to symbolize the strength and resilience of Filipinos in the aftermath of any tragedy. These landmarks, like us Filipinos, should be able to rise again and stand the test of time.
Abangan sa Counterpoint. Mula sa showbiz, tumawid siya sa politika. Ngayon siya ang incumbent councilor ng 5th District dito sa Quezon City. Councilor Aiko Melendez.
Akala nila ang politika is bread and butter. Hindi.
Kasi kaya ka nga papasok ng public service kasi nga service to the people. Pero ang nagiging ano sa kanila parang kikita tayo. Mali.
Ngayong Miyerkules alas 10:30 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25. Puro yabang itong ating mga taga-usig, lalong-lalo na dyan sa DOJ. Nauuna yung panghuhusga, nauuna yung panghahatol kahit wala pang preliminary investigation.
Panalo tayo pag together, walang talo pag together, let's stand together sa Net 25.
Ako po ang katuwang ninyo para mas maunawaan ang usaping ito.
Usapan natin 8 Bulaga.
Dumating din si Mr. Tobiera, si Tony Tobiera. At doon, inisip niya na i-offer sa amin ang isang noontime program.
So, in short, natanggap namin si Tobiera. Nagkaroon na ng show. May 8 Bulaga na.
Matagal lang sinasabi na ginagawa dapat ng DPWH. Nabawasan na ba ang kalidad ng mga programa at pelikulang gawa ng Pinoy? Sa tingin mo ba, mas okay bang negosyo na lang kaysa mamasukan? Check tayo dyan. Check tayo dyan. Check tayo dyan. Mag-reality check tayo.
Oy, congrats to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bago mong show, bago mong bahay, Net 25, the best.
Aba, siyempre, hindi ako pwedeng kumiwalay sa inyo.
Panalo tayo pag together, walang talo pag together, let's stand together sa Net 25.
Sa buhay, minsan lang dumating ang taong masasabi mong tunay na kaibigan.
Yep! At kapag siya'y natagpuan na, huwag mo nang pakawalan.
Ang tunay na kaibigan, laging nandyan kahit kailan.
Handang gawin ang lahat, maging happy ka lang.
Gagawin ang Afro-Funk! Para sa'yo, para sa pamilya, at para sa bayan.
Tulad na lang ng inyong mga bagong kaibigan.
Tuwing umaga,
Love!
Tony Beth and Afro-Funk! Ngayong June 26,
6:30 ng umaga.
sa Net 25! Let's net together! Love Tony better together! Love Tony better than every time! Every time! Love Tony better than every
Panalo tayo pag together, walang talo pag together, let's stand together sa Net 25.
And the buzzword of the week is migration agent. They assist in visa application and registered under the Office of Migration Agents Registration Authority. And that came from Australian Government Department of Home Affairs. In a country like ours, pursuing higher education, even in the midst of adversity, could be the catalyst needed to break the cycle of poverty. Opportunities open up, making education the true form of empowerment to a better future. Our own guest proved that it is possible to change directions if you invest in education. While education here is good, studying abroad provides a gateway to experiencing diversity, perspectives, and cultures, thus broadening one's mindset from local to global, nurturing intellectual growth and multicultural understanding. In an almost borderless society due to online presence and with the increasing interest to live and work abroad, education overseas can help prepare one to thrive on the global stage. And with that, our quote of the week is from Aristotle, a Greek philosopher and polymath. He said, "The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet." Maraming salamat sa isa na namang oras na pagsama sa amin upang tunghayan ang isang makabuluhang usapan ukol sa negosyo dito lang sa Open for Business. Hanggang sa susunod na linggo, samahan nyo kaming muli dito sa Open for Business. Catch us too on Facebook, on YouTube, like and subscribe on our social media page at Net25 TV. We will bring you more insights from industry experts, thought leaders, CEOs, and featured SMEs. Together, let us help encourage business in the Philippines, sharpen your business acumen, feel the pulse, and set the trend for as long as you are informed and open for business. Ito po si Cesar Vallejos. Marami pong salamat.